Hey, girl. Woo. Hey family, what's good? This is your girl and the world's goddess, and I'm actually here today to do another strawberry letter. Before I get into today's video, I want to remind you guys to check out my book. It's called The Dating Game: How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right. It's available on CreateSpace, Amazon, and you can also now download it in Kindle. Without any further ado, let's go get 'em. I would really like advice on my situation. I'm a 24-year-old and I have a 1-year-old son. I recently began a new relationship a few months ago with a great guy. The issue is that he's 27 years old and lives with his parents. His parents basically run his life. He's a good Christian male, so he believes in obeying his parents. His parents basically consume his life. He lives in a house with 5 other people and he's the only one that has a real job. His parents are retired, so they live on a fixed income, and his older brother is severely disabled, so he cannot work. His sisters have a very part-time job, and in order for them to get to work, he has to drop them off and pick them up, and I am constantly becoming increasingly frustrated because I want to spend time with him, but it never happens. Most of his money is spent on caring for his family, and it leaves very little for himself. He wants to go back to school and get a better job, but he's unable to because at the moment he gets home from work, his mother always wants him to take her to X, Y, and Z place. They make sure that he has an errand to run every single day. I told him that I would like to spend at least one day together, hanging out and getting to know each other. I don't think that's too much to ask. I recently told him that I think we should hold off on being in a relationship until he actually has time to actually build it. He was upset and said that he was hurt by that and that we should make it work and that he would try to do better. I'm not used to all of this. I don't think I can take much more of it. I feel like there's nothing left to bring to the table after he's done serving his family. No time, no money, no nothing. When we go out, they want us to come home, get this, at an acceptable time. She said she feels like I'll have to summarize it from here. She feels like she's dating a high schooler. They can never spend more than 5 or 6 hours together, and they don't like when he goes out on dates because they feel like the mother said, and I quote,
"What if I have someplace to go?"
Girl, okay, this letter is really good. I wanted to do it because this is one of the types of men that you should never date. I have a whole chapter in my upcoming book about different types of men that you should not date, and this man is one of them. He is going to exhaust you. You will never win that battle. And even if you do, the family will always resent you for being the one that took their loved one away. Even though it's not you taking them away, it's about them being man enough to stand up to their family. It's unfortunate that his family doesn't truly love him unconditionally, because if they did, they wouldn't put so many conditions on the love. They want him to be at their beck and call. They want him to take care of his parents and his siblings. And is he even allowed to have a life? It sounds like they're not allowing him to. And to me, when you're 27 years old, you have to be a bit more aggressive. I'm not a fan of passive men. I want a man that's going to go out there and take care of business. And he can't do that. How is he ever going to be able to lead a family if he can't lead himself? Having a successful relationship is all about boundaries, especially when you have an overbearing family like this one. He needs to let them know, look, I give you guys this amount of my time, but I also have to have time for me. He is losing himself. And the thing about it is, when a man truly, truly, truly loves you, it will change him. I don't believe in you having to ask a man to change. If he truly loves you, the fear of losing you will make him change. That's why I'm not a big fan of ultimatums. If you don't do this, I'm going to leave. No, most likely he knew you were going to leave, and either he was okay with it or he's willing to do whatever he can to make sure that doesn't happen in his relationship. So that's why I feel like ultimatums don't work. I'm not pressuring you to do anything. You and I both know that just like you can leave, I can leave. And just like you are a valued commodity, so am I. So if you want us to work, you have to work at it. It'll work if you work it. I feel like his family is really taking over his life, and you already know that. I'm glad that you're smart enough to want to make this decision now. I feel like you should end it, because I feel like it'll be too much resentment for him in the future if it doesn't work out. If you guys have arguments, he'll feel like it was you who alienated him from his family. If it's not his choice, he's going to resent you, and the family's going to resent you. And why willingly, knowingly walk into a situation like this? I wouldn't sign up for that. There are too many men running around here loose, looking for a good woman like you, who's got all these things going for herself in school, got her own place. You are too valuable a commodity to be putting up with this. You would be settling. And I'm not saying that means he's not a good man or a good guy and all of that, but he's not being man enough for you. It does seem like you're dating a high schooler. An acceptable time for a 27-year-old? If I'm that I come in the house is acceptable. Acceptable to who? To his mommy? Like, he's a grown man. Like, see, that would turn me off right there. Like, what you mean? Somebody asking you what time you're coming in, and then the mother has the nerve to say, what if I have someplace to go? Like, you'll never be number one as long as they are. And it seems like matter of fact, you won't even be number 2 or number 3 or number 4. He lives in a house of 5 people. So you're going to be number 6 or 7 on the list. You're going to come behind mommy and daddy and the brother and the 2 sisters. You're going to come behind all of that. He will never be able to make you number one, whether you're his girlfriend, his fiance, or his wife. So why go into a relationship knowing that you'll never be number one? He can't even do the basic principle. He will never be able to leave his father and his mother's house and cleave to his wife because he can't even do it now. I'm not saying he has to be a bad son or turn his back on his family, but he needs to let them know that he deserves to have his own life. They're playing him. And although that is sad, that's not your problem. That's not your issue. Now, if you do feel like this is the one that God has chosen for you, then pray about it, that God will help him to be strong and to stand up to his parents. I think sometimes people take the Bible a little bit too literally. Honoring your father and your mother isn't just doing everything they ever tell you to do. It's about having respect for their role as a mother and a father. It's about saying, Mom, I love you, but I respectfully disagree. Mom, I am a grown woman, and I don't mean to disrespect you, but I am a man. Sometimes being a grown-up means standing up to your parents. You can do it, I said it before, you can say whatever you want to anyone you want as long as you do it in a respectful way. He can tell his parents in a respectful way how he feels. If you really do care for him and you want to see where this goes, you need to pray about it, but you need to leave it alone. You can't just be there in his ear telling him, tell your parents this, tell your parents that. He has to want to make that decision for himself or it will never stick. He will at some point resent you for making him choose. He will feel like you're making him choose. And you don't want somebody that you have to give ultimatums to. You want somebody to go with you willingly, freely. Not somebody you hog tying and grab it at the ankle and if you don't do this, I'm gone and all this kind of stuff. Nobody wants that. I want you to know that you have the option to do whatever you want. You have the option to be with whomever you want. But I want you to choose me. Because there is nothing like being a man's choice. Not his ultimatum, not his guilt trip, not his mommy, but being his choice. I think that you should have a nice conversation with him and let him know exactly how you feel and let him know that you are not interested in being number 5 or 6 in any man's life. If you can't be number 1, not now or in the future, you don't want any part of it. That the way your self-esteem is set up, you don't feel like you have to do that because honestly you don't. There is some man that will put you number 1. You need to let him know, look, I don't mind feeling giddy like a schoolgirl, being on the phone all night like a schoolgirl, but I don't want to date like a schoolgirl. I don't want my 27-year-old man having to have a curfew and be in an acceptable hour. I don't want to have our plans being canceled because his mommy needs him to take her this place and that place and feeling like all of your plans are dependent upon the whim of his entire family. I don't want to have to pay for dates because all of his money goes to his family. You're too old for this. He's too old for this. What he's asking of you is too much, especially with a man that you're not even in love with. Absolutely not. I say cut your losses while you can, and if he really is interested in you, he will make the changes without you even having to ask. The thought alone of losing you over this will make him stand up for himself and finally be a man. Finally be a man in front of his parents, and finally put everybody in their places, and finally set boundaries, which is what he should have done so long ago. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Be sure to thumbs up if you guys enjoyed. Also, be sure to check out my book. It's called The Dating Game, How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right. It's on CreateSpace, Amazon, and also downloadable in Kindle. I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Be sure to leave your opinions below. Deuces, honey.